Let me know when we're good. We're good? Okay. All right, well, good morning, everybody. How you doing? Welcome so much from Vision to Victory. It's great to have you today. It's so exciting to be together, and way to go. It is Wednesday. You did it. This is the only thing standing between you and Mickey Mouse is this class. So I'm so grateful that you came, and just really want to celebrate you for just saying, okay, one more class. We have any campus students here? All right, we got a few campus singles at all? Singles, and then a couple marrieds I think are speckled in here. Awesome. All right, good. So we've got a good representation. Everyone look at the camera and say, hey, everybody on live stream, what's up? Good to see you. I don't know if they can see you, but they waved. I'll let you know that at home there. But it really is good to be here today, and I got to tell you, they call this a summit for a reason, right? We get to walk upstairs outside, or some take the escalator like me, but, just to get up here. So that's kind of cool, right? We're up in this place, and then it's just been an incredible 3 or 4 days, learning about growing and changing, and all of a sudden we're hugging people again, right? And good things are happening. We're high-fiving each other, and I just really want to celebrate you for doing that and for coming out here and making it all happen. Again, for you at home, same thing. You're home, you're Zooming, you're streaming, and you're probably pretty filled up as well. And what I'd love you to do, just give your neighbor a high five and say, way to go, way to complete the conference. Yeah, just give them that nice high five. There you go. High five at home. It's so good. And I'm guessing, now again, tell me if I'm wrong, I'm guessing that this might represent your heart, your soul, your mind. Am I close on this? This picture right here. Anybody get filled up after like the first or one or two messages a couple days ago? I've talked to a few people that are like, yeah, I tapped out pretty much after that third lesson, And so, again, I'm so glad you came here because, you can end up feeling like this. Like, I can't take another anything, I'm just full. Like I said, I'm going to go hang out with Mickey. But the good news here today, hopefully what you'll feel like is that we're going to be able to really unpack it a little bit, right? And just really kind of understand. So I just want to kind of talk about what we're going to do today. Today's goal is just to process everything else you've learned out there. You might pick up a tiny little thing here again, even when you put your car in, right? The thing snaps back full. You just put a little bit more in, you just tap it off a little bit. It's usually like 10 cents, but you do it anyway, right? When you're filling your car. So there might be a little bit of that today, but honestly, the goal is to help you process what's already happened. So in about 55 minutes, when you walk out that door or at home, if you're watching this and you've been part of the conference, that you have a plan. You've been able to kind of bring it on in and to think about things, and we're going to have some group experience together. I think it's going to really help you. Then we're going to identify our key takeaways. What is it? A lot of times we do it on the plane, right? Or we say we're going to do it on a plane. But now they have so many good movies on planes, it's kind of like, well, I'm tired, and we pop that in. Then we get home, and 600 emails waiting for us, plus our dog or cat we haven't seen, So it can just get out of hand. So hopefully today this is helpful for you to say, oh, you know what? I got my plan. I'm going home with it instead of like processing later. I'm going to take it while it's fresh. We're going to talk over 3 foundational pieces of where victory comes from. So you'll see that very clearly. And then we're going to talk about ongoing training. Like, does this have to be it? How do I keep this going when I go home? And then we have a little surprise for you at the end. So how do we best process our experience so far, right? What's the best way to really go about it? Because one of the things that we got to think about is just how do we keep absorbing the key moments? Last night, there was a message on the poor by Paris and another brother. I mean, it was just so good. That was the whole conference for me. It was just, but how do I actually absorb that versus just like listening to it like a song, right? Listening to it like something that really motivates you for a little bit, and then you get discombobulated. So we'll be talking about that. And the biggest thing that we don't want to do is clog our processor, right? We want to keep that that green arrow, whatever that green arrow is for you on the bottom of this funnel, that's what we want to really walk out of this room with today. And there might be more than one, but I'm guessing there's going to be one central. So one of the ways that we're going to do it is through group participation. So any introverts in this room? All right, cool. All right, we got about half. Any extroverts? All right, so you guys will be up here on stage. You'll be like, yeah, this is amazing. Introverts will be like, okay, this is taking a lot of energy out of me. We need to pace ourselves through, okay? The great thing is, extroverts, introverts, we all need each other, right? So it's all good. So basically the way we're going to do it, it's pretty simple, is we're just going to cooperate. We're going to be doing some things where you've got a chance to, like for example, these questions here. There's going to be a 5-minute timer, right? So one person will have a chance to spend about 5 minutes answering these questions. I did put most of our questions today in the app, so for those of you who did some homework first, hopefully you felt encouraged to not get put on the spot. I'm very spontaneous. I'm a spontaneous thinker, so this is something that is fun for me, actually, to kind of try to think on my feet. But either way, we'll have 5 minutes. You'll hear the sound of an old telephone bell, like ding, and then we'll flip over to the next 5 minutes. Does that make sense? So please participate righteously. I know you're right in the middle of that story. You're just about to the point that you want to say, and the bell rings. Please give the mic over to your partner. Fair enough? I will give the mic over to my partner. Everybody, I will give the mic over to my partner. Okay, awesome. You guys can go have coffee later if you want to chat some more, and I hope you do that, actually. But for this exercise, we're going to do this. And we're going to do this in and out of this hour. So again, you're processing, you're externally processing, you're audibly processing. There's a lot of psychology behind it that it really helps you. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know I was thinking that, because you got it out and you spoke. So let's practice. We're going to do our first one. I do encourage you to do this with someone you don't know in the room, because someone that you know is probably going to know some of these answers or tell you, nah, that's not what you got out of it. Sometimes it's good to have a new person. So that way they're objective and you can just have fun making a new friend. So let's start here. I'm going to go ahead. You'll be able to see the timer, because it's going to be like that. It took me about 2 hours to figure out how to do that, so finally got it working, so that was good. So let's do this. What has God opened my eyes to? Like, what's the renewed vision that happened to me at this conference? I chose this class because blank. What I most hope to get out of this class is blank, and my current vision is, and the victory would be. Don't panic on that last one. If you're saying, you know what, I've got a couple new visions. I had stopped dreaming about this, but this came on my heart. Like at this conference, this got woken up. And I feel like I want to go home and really live it out. A victory would be signing up for, I really love the Hope Worldwide thing. I want to sign up for a brigade and go to Central America and serve the poor. We're not going to hold you to any of this. Just enjoy processing, okay? So what we're going to do is, turn to someone that you don't know, and let's go. Let's have at it. 5 minutes, we'll switch on the questions. So it's going to be 10-minute total. On your marks, get set, go. For those of you at home, I hope this is helpful. 2 years ago, when we were doing this virtually, this same conference, I sat at home during these 10 minutes and took notes. So I encourage you, seriously, get a journal out. You might not have someone that you're asking the questions to, but just ask yourself, man, what has God opened my eyes to at this conference? Even if you just heard 1 or 2 sermons, or maybe you listened to everything, go ahead and go for it. And why'd you choose this class? Why are you watching it? Even if it's on rewind, why did you pick this class? And go ahead and ask yourself, what do I want to get out of this hour? Being intentional is super helpful when it comes to personal growth, making changes in our lives. So go ahead and do that. And then, of course, at the end, the class is called From Vision to Victory. So what is that vision that you have for yourself? And what would a victory look like? It could be with your kids. Right now we've got a puppy. We have a vision of a housebroken dog. So It doesn't have to all be on the spiritual side, although everything's spiritual, but it could be something very practical in your life. Going back to school, dating somebody, starting a new relationship, could be financial. So I'll stop talking and let you journal. Have a great time. I'll see you in a few minutes. By the way, you might say something really cool. Write it down. You might be like, oh my gosh. So make sure you have a pen and paper just in case you say something really cool, okay? To be clear, you have 5 minutes each. So stick with it. Keep going. You got 5 minutes each. I know, I'm generous. All right, you guys, our telephone buzzer didn't work that time. We're going to work on that, but it is time to switch. If you just walked in, find someone you don't know, and you'll have 5 minutes here to chat about these answers. If you're brand new, you just take 2.5 minutes each. If you've been here, just go ahead and flip it, and that other person now gets 5 minutes to answer the questions back to you. So enjoy your next session here. No. It's okay, bro. It's not going to be. I'll pretend to know it's a little ring. Okay. Yeah, we'll roll. Welcome back. Those at home, if you're just tuning in, what we're doing is group coaching, where you put questions out on the board or in a slide, and then you just group coach. You just talk amongst each other, and that creates audible processing, and amazing things happen. You start realizing that I can think through things, and I can talk through things, and really cool stuff happens. So thanks so much for joining us. We're about to buzz over here to the next session. All right, everybody, that 5 minutes is up. Give yourselves a hand for the first participation. All right, we're just getting started, you guys. We're just getting warmed up. So here we go. Let's keep going together. And I'm getting the boink sound here. There we go. Okay, so summit experiences, right? Summit experiences. When you're on the mountain, you know what's coming next is not just a big old airplane, right? Or maybe your van that you drove here or your car, but the valley awaits, doesn't it? The valley awaits, the descension. You know, you think about Jesus, he's on the summit, he's transforming, bright as the sun, right? He's got encouragement, he's got Moses and Elijah, they're having a great time. He comes down, and what's going on? The disciples didn't pray for the guy with the son, right, who was having foaming at the mouth, and he's like, come on, you guys, and he runs into trouble, and then, we just know Moses comes down from the summit, right, and what does he find, right? He finds the golden calf, and he's like, and so there's this theme of, descending well or just coming back to stuff that's actually not what you hoped you'd come back to, right? Can anyone relate to that? Right? Like, things are good here. You're staying in a nice hotel. They make your bed, right? I mean, you're going home to just, you don't know what could possibly happen. And so we got to talk about that. How do we prepare for the valley? How do we best ensure your victory when you get back home, and how do you protect it, right? So here's what we're going to do is, when you think of a person in the Bible who sought out their vision all the way to victory, who comes to mind? Just think about that for a second. It was fun. I did this with this group that I work with, the Ironman team and the Magdalene team, and I can talk to you about that later. But every time they came up with someone, it was someone different. I had come up with like 4, and no one named my 4. So this is kind of a fun exercise. We've got a plethora of examples, right, of biblical characters that had a vision, and they saw it all the way through to victory. So what we're going to do is we're going to have some fun, all right? And you're both going to choose someone. Again, it can be anybody in the Bible. And then we're going to talk about, okay, so why did you choose that person? And what was it that you think helped them make it all the way from vision to victory? Okay? Everybody got it? So we're going to take the same amount of time. We're going to do 5 minutes. And this time the other person goes first. Okay? If you just came in, find somebody or team up with somebody. And again, all you're going to do is say, you know what? This really reminds me of so-and-so in the Old or New Testament, and then talk about the vision they had and then the steps that it took for them to have victory, and then switch. We'll switch in 5 minutes. Ready? Go! Okay, time's up. Rotate. So now you're going to flip, and the other person can tell you about their spiritual hero. And specifically, what was it? And you might not know off the top of your head, and that's fine. Like, what was it that helped them get that victory? But again, just even talking through, it's like, oh, actually come up with a 3-point sermon just sitting here doing this, right? So enjoy the flip. Go ahead and switch. And then start the... All right, I see some pens out. I see some people typing stuff in their phone. You got 22 seconds left. Keep going. All right, everybody. Good job. Give yourselves a hand again. Who's got a book title? Anybody got a book title? We came up with a book title over here. Anybody got sermon, Bible talk, something? I hope you do. Right? Isn't it amazing to think about our great cloud of witnesses? They're just so much fun to talk about and to just think about. Oh, I get that noise again. Let's see. There we go. Nope, it's because okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay. Boom. That we did that one. Here we go. So let me ask you this question. When you think about all the different heroes that you chose today, can I just get a few names of who you chose? Joseph. Moses. Paul. Who? Gideon. Nice. In the back. Paul. Okay. Mordecai. Nehemiah. Good. Caleb. Nice. Awesome. Yeah, you have in the back. David. All right. We had a David over here as well. David. David's. All right. We got some Davids. Nice. But isn't it cool to see we don't pick the same person. We don't all relate to the same person. Different people inspire us for different reasons, different life situations, and that's great. So what I want to throw out to you is this thought. Is this equality missional? And that word can have a religious tint to it, and that's good, and that's fine. But for today's purposes, we're gonna expand the realm of missional to mean just being on a mission. It could be to be a great husband. It could be to raise your kids in the Lord, right? It could be to be a great neighbor. It could be to advance in your career. So that's kind of we're gonna spread the context of this word missional. But would you say that the character that you chose had this mindset of missional, right? Like just like all chips are in. What about Elisha? Chopping up his plow, right? Like that's pretty missional. Like okay, and all the chips are in. Here we go. I'm on a mission. We're gonna make this happen. Secondly, vulnerability, right? How many of your heroes only got so far, but without vulnerability, right? They would have just been like they just would have crashed. And we've got people. How about King Saul? Would be vulnerable be a word that you use in a sermon about King Saul? Probably not, right? That wasn't his endearing quality, right? With all respect. But when you think about your hero, if you think long enough about their story, you're going to probably find a spot where they were vulnerable. You're going to find a spot where they had hit the end. How about Elijah, right? Oh, God, take me now. I'm done. This is hard. I just completely honest. Here we go. Jonah was just like, I'm running away. I'm getting out of here, in his whole story, and eventually, victory there. But we're going to talk about vulnerability here in a second. And then finally, when you have missional and you have the vulnerability, you have unstoppability. You have this passion, to have this vision is one thing. We can have a daydream all we want. It doesn't mean that we're going to attain the victory, does it? But if we're missional and vulnerable, we become unstoppable, right? And what I'd like to do is just talk about Naaman here for a little bit. Does anyone remember Naaman? All right. Hey, look, be honest. Be vulnerable. Anyone not know who Naaman is? Okay, good. Lots of hands. Amen. Look at you guys. You're on your way. Look at that. Awesome. I love it. Cool. So I'm going to read you a little bit about my man Naaman here. So let's go to my Bible. So here we go. Now, this is 2 Kings chapter 5, as it says here. You can follow along or just listen. Now, Naaman was a commander of the army of Aram. He was a great man in the sight of his master and highly regarded because through him the Lord had given victory to Aram. He was a valiant soldier. But he had leprosy. So valiant soldier, but he had leprosy. Now bands of raiders from Aram had gone out and had taken captive a young girl from Israel, and she served Naaman's wife. She said to her mistress, "If only my master would see the prophet who's in Samaria, he would cure him of his leprosy." Naaman went to the master and told him what the girl said, and he said, "By all means, go." The king of Aram replied, "I will send a letter to the king of Israel." So Naaman left, taking with him, get this, 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 sets of clothing. The letter read to the king sounded like this: "With this letter I'm sending you my servant Naaman, so that you may cure him of his leprosy." As soon as the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his robes and said, "Am I God? Can I kill and bring back to life? Why does this fellow send someone to me to be cured of his leprosy? See how he's trying to pick a quarrel with me?" So in other words, that didn't go well. That wasn't a good email to get. So when Elisha, the man of God, heard the king of Israel had torn his robes, he sent his message to him. He says, "Why have you torn your robes? Have the man come to me, and he will know that there is a prophet in Israel." So Naaman went with his horses and chariots and stopped at the door of Elijah's house. You know, I don't know what kind of neighborhood you live in, or I mean, like sometimes I drive through these neighborhoods and I just see these huge, I see these big houses, and you know, I think about like a palace like that, and you know, this guy pulls up, he's like, "Arr!" And he's got his clothes and his gold and his silver, and he's got this leprosy, and he pulls up, and he's right out in front. And it says, then Elijah sent a messenger to him and said this: "Go wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan, and your flesh will be restored, and you will be cleansed." I just imagine this little messenger, for some reason, being short. And just kind of, you know, this big door opens, this little messenger comes out like this, says, you know, "Go wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan, and you'll be cleansed," and then just turns around and comes in, shuts the door. For some reason, I don't know, I just have that in my head. We'll find out someday. So Naaman does exactly what the little messenger says. No, he doesn't. Naaman went away angry and thought, "I thought that he would surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord of God, wave his hand over the spot of leprosy, and cure me. Are not Abana and Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than the waters of Israel? Couldn't I wash in them and be cleansed?" So he turned and went off in a rage. He's upset. What he thought and what happened were completely different, right? Naaman's servant, again, went to him and said, "My father, if the prophet had told you to do some great thing, would you not have done it? How much more then when he tells you, wash and be cleansed?" So verse 14, this woman's not even named who gave him that advice. She's not even, you don't even know her name. She's a servant girl. So he went down and dipped himself in the Jordan 7 times, as the man of God had told him, and his flesh was restored and became clean like that of a young boy. Such an amazing story, right? I mean, you got missional. I mean, he's got clothes, he's got gold, he's got you know, everything he thinks that he needs to pay for this, right? He's got it in his head. This is his dream. This is how he sees it happening. So then he goes, right? And he's mad. Anybody ever relate to that? Like, you got it in your head how things are going to go, and it goes completely opposite, right? And you got your money, you got this, you got everything to go. My wife and I, we like to do tandem bike, and I had everything ready. We had the tandem bike. I even got new tubes, new tires. I'm like, I don't want anything to stand in our way. Short story is 6 miles, 4 flats, 3 in the back and 1 in the front. No ride on our tandem bike. And sometimes it's just that way, and you're like, dang it. Naaman was daggett. Naaman was so upset. He's like, I just saw this going a totally different way. You know, I just saw this happening. And so many times that happens in our lives as we go towards we have a vision. He had a vision of what it would be like. When it was completely different, he just got mad and he got angry. And so many times that can be the role of our life, right? Like our kids, our dogs, our houses, our jobs, we can see it going one way and then we can get angry. But then what do you notice about him is he's vulnerable finally, right? He gets to that vulnerable spot where he's like, all right, I'll go to the Jordan. I'll listen. She's right. He listened to a nobody who was a big buddy. And because he reduced himself and really just kind of crucified his own vision of what the victory would look like and went with what he was told, he comes up out of the water and it says his hand is like that of a young child. Can you imagine like 1, nothing, 2, nothing, 3, 4, 5, 6, nothing, 7, boom, a shining brand new hand with no leprosy on it. Missional, vulnerable, unstoppable. Missional, vulnerable, unstoppable. Jesus, the Bible says that in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1, it says that, oops, doesn't say that Dave dropped his phone, I'll tell you that. In Hebrews 12, chapter 1, it says, for the joy set before him, Jesus endured the cross, scorning its shame, right? And then sat down at the right hand of the Father. But in the Garden of, the Garden of Eden, the Mount of Olives, right? In the Mount of Olives, we don't see joy, do we? We don't see joy. But Hebrews 12 says, yeah, but for the joy set before him, he endured the cross. Okay, but right before that, he was, I don't want this. God, I don't want to drink it. Give it to somebody else. But before, and who's ever had a prayer time where you're that real and that honest? Anybody ever have that kind of prayer time where you're just like all out, like, okay, God, what's in front of me I don't want to do? Can I just be honest with you, right? But who grabs you the best friends? Like who grabs your, most of us will pray that prayer and then go back to our best friends. He's like, guys, come with me. Now they fall asleep, but he still wants his 3 guys. Like, see me at my worst. He's totally vulnerable. He's just like, I just don't want to do this. He doesn't try to override his heart, his mind. He wrestles to get right in alignment with what comes before him. And he's vulnerable. There's no one that's going to ever disagree that Jesus was missional. What we don't understand sometimes is how vulnerable he was in the garden there. He said, do not worry about tomorrow. So he didn't do all that till it was 24 hours. A day had to come into pass for the cross where he could actually worry about today. So it all hit him all at once, and it just crushed him. It just brought him right to his knees. And so what I'd love to do is have us talk about, when's a time in your life where you saw the vision all the way through to victory? It doesn't have to be something with church or with God. It could be anything. It could be a sport maybe, or a career move. It could be something very spiritual. It could be something that happened yesterday. And what I want to do is just bring us back to a time where we embraced those 3 qualities. The way I was missional was this way. The way I was vulnerable was this. And then the way I became unstoppable was this. And again, I understand that you might not know, but think about it. It could have been in junior high. It could have been yesterday. Somewhere in your life where, doggone it, that described you. You were like not going to stop until you reached your victory. Let's have fun. Let's pick someone new. You've had 2 with one person. Find someone new for the next 2, starting now, and have fun. 5 minutes. Hello again, those streaming. Hope this has been okay for you. Hopefully there's someone at your home that you can do this with. Again, if you're by yourself, journal. Say, man, when was a time when I was missional? When was a time, was vulnerability a part of it? And the unstoppableness of you, the way how, like, no one was going to get in your path, no one was going to get in your way. Give it a try. Thank you. So I've got... Woo. All right. Give your partner a hand, you guys. Give your partner a hand. Way to go. Way to go. Way to go. Amazing. Really good stuff. So what I want you to do is, again, if your phone or you're taking notes, put your name down. Put today's date. You know, not in a braggadocious way, but like, hey, why not you? Why not your vision to victory? I just had an amazing time hearing an incredible story of complete 180 turnaround through humility, vulnerability, but missional, that this brother is going to turn this part of his life around. And I'm like, dude, I never would have known that. It's so much fun to be inspired by the great cloud of witnesses, but also people in this room, right? Anybody be inspired today? All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. So why not you? So many times it's like, oh, why not you? Why can't you be that person? Why can't you have the victory that you talked about earlier today? You know, what if we could bring back the heroes of our faith? What if we could bring back the person that you said, and we could sit them all up on stage today? And what if you had just 5 minutes with them? They were mentoring you, and you brought to them, you say, hey, Nehemiah, right? Hey, Moses, hey, David, here's what I'm thinking for my vision. You know, here's where I'm going with this, right? And just could talk to them and have that. I know we're getting close on time here. I can't tell you my stories, but basically I was in a bomb cyclone, which is a really bad storm, but I knew it was coming, so I tapped into Noah. I was like, who can I talk to about this? I'm like, Noah, what's up? My great cloud of witnesses. And I wrote his name on my arm for this triathlon race. And I'm like, take me, Noah. Take me through. You're the storm master. And they ended up canceling the race. But anyway, I had fun. I'd never connected with Noah before. So, you know, the Bible says we've got a great cloud of witnesses. They're watching. They're cheering us on. We might as well say hi to them, right? So we don't have time to do this. Take a snapshot if you want. But this is the key. This is where the rubber hits the road, where we're going to kind of firm it up here at the end. I believe God is giving me a vision to blank. Living missional means this. Being vulnerable means this. I will be vulnerable when this comes up. When I'm weak, God will make me strong, even when I'm feeling blank. I believe, I'm not a teacher in the kingdom. When God says when you're weak, you're strong, it's that admittance on your way to unstoppable. It's admitting I'm weak. I'm falling apart like Elijah. Like I just can't do this anymore. Just take me, God. It's okay. Those moments are great, and we need those moments. So what's your customized plan? So I'm not going to just leave you hanging here, okay? So if you go to, they're on your seats, take them with you. If you go to that, if you just hit that with your phone, you're going to get a quiet time series. And what's fun about the quiet time series is you get to pick your hero for the day. I can't pick your hero. I don't know what you're going through. So in the quiet time series, you'll be able to pick a hero, and then I have a list of questions that you can go through for that person. You can spend a day with them. You can spend a week. You can spend a month. You can spend as long as you want. That's the way the quiet time series is set up. It also has a morning journal and an evening journal. We have to put our armor on. But how do we do it non-legalistically and not in a mundane way, right? So I've given you 9 questions in the morning. Quick ones, 5 minutes. Ask yourself these questions. You're going to feel the armor on, okay? And then at night, a couple questions, quick ones to journal how the day went. In a sense, loosen up the armor so you can sleep and then wake up in the morning and tighten it back up. Plus, if you sign up for the quiet time and get that, you're also going to get weekly journals. I'm going to spend the next X amount of months driving this home, vision to victory. You'll get them from me every week, okay, if you sign up for that. Plus, 25% disc off. Slow down a little bit. Discount off of any coaching service, especially the initial assessment that we go through. And the Valley is waiting. You've seen some really awesome skiers, right? Kill the Valley, right? So our goal is to cage the squirrel of distractions, really live a life, guys, that really puts them aside, and we don't let it steal our focus. Have some joyful friends. This is my son Keenan and his quad. They call it the quad. Jesus had his 3. These guys have 4. It's okay. Have 2, have 4, have 10, but have your joyful friends to really walk you through. Put that armor every day. And I'll end with this. Never feel that you're inadequate to learn or achieve. You are not inadequate. But it's okay to acknowledge your understanding or skill set is inadequate in certain area. So just for now, but not for long, because you will eagerly learn and apply. And as your competency grows, so too will your confidence. Thanks for coming to the class today. You're not inadequate. Stick with it. Download the quiet time. Prepare for every day, and your vision will become a victory. Thank you guys so much. Awesome time.